Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the end of another week. We, of course, have news headlines coming up on this Friday. Have a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's news you can use. Yesterday, I was joined on Conversations Live, the radio show, by Aaron Gold, the senior editor at MotorTrend. He brought us MotorTrend's 2024 Car of the Year. You'll be hearing it announced today. Enjoy our broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Friday headlines. In national news, man who attacked Pelosi's husband is convicted of federal assault and attempted kidnapping charges. A jury on Thursday convicted the man who broke into former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco home last year of federal charges for seeking to hold her hostage and attacking her husband with a hammer. Jurors deliberated for about 8 hours before finding the individual, who Conversations Daily News is not naming, guilty of attempted kidnapping of a federal official and assault on the immediate family member of a federal official. The individual, now faces 50 years in prison, did not react as the verdict was read. The attack on the 82-year-old Paul Pelosi that was captured on police body camera video just days before the midterm elections sent shockwaves through the political world. The individual, who is 43, admitted during trial testimony that he broke into Pelosi's home on October 28, 2022, intending to hold Nancy Pelosi hostage and break her kneecaps if she lied to him. He also admitted to bludgeoning Paul Pelosi with a hammer after San Francisco police officers showed up at the home, saying his plan to end what he viewed as government corruption was unraveling. Defense attorneys argued that the individual was motivated by his political beliefs, not because he wanted to interfere with Nancy Pelosi's official duties as a member of Congress, making the charges against him invalid. One of his attorneys told jurors during closing arguments that the individual was caught up in conspiracies. At a news conference outside the federal courthouse where the verdict was read, the U.S. attorney told reporters, "People can believe what they want and engage in passionate debate, but this guilty verdict on all counts sends a clear message that regardless of what your beliefs are, what you cannot do is physically attack a member of Congress or their immediate family for the performance of their job." Defense attorneys did not comment on the verdict. In more national news, Representative George Santos won't seek re-election after a scathing ethics report cites evidence of lawbreaking. The House Ethics Committee, in a scathing report Thursday, said it has amassed overwhelming evidence of lawbreaking by Representative George Santos of New York that has been sent to the Justice Department, concluding flatly he cannot be trusted after a months-long investigation into his conduct. Shortly after the panel's report was released, Santos blasted it in a tweet on X as a disgusting politicized smear, but said he would not be seeking re-election to a second term. He gave no indication, however, that he would step aside before his term ends next year, vowing to pursue his conservative values in my remaining time in Congress. But a renewed effort to expel him from the House was quickly launched. The House could vote on his expulsion as soon as it returns from Thanksgiving holiday later this month. The panel said that Santos knowingly caused his campaign committee to file false or incomplete records with the Federal Election Commission, used campaign funds for personal purposes, and violated the Ethics in Government Act concerning financial disclosure statements filed with the House. In more national news, Texas jury convicts woman of fatally shooting cyclist Anna Mo Wilson in jealous rage. A Texas jury on Thursday convicted a woman of murder in the May 2022 shooting death of a rising professional cyclist, Anna Mariah Wilson, in a case that led investigators on a 43-day international search for the killer. Prosecutors said the individual gunned down the 25-year-old Wilson in a jealous rage. Wilson, who was also known as Mo, had briefly dated the individual's boyfriend several months earlier. Wilson had gone swimming and to a meal with him the day she was killed. Jurors deliberated for about 2 hours after 2 weeks of testimony. Wilson family and friends, including the friend who found her body the night she was killed, hugged and cried in the courtroom after the verdict was read. In more national news, Biden tells Asia-Pacific leaders U.S. not going anywhere as he looks to build economic ties. President Joe Biden on Thursday made America's case to national leaders and CEOs attending the Asia-Pacific Summit that the United States is committed to high standards in trade and to partnerships that will benefit economies across the Pacific. "We're not going anywhere," he declared. Fresh off his meeting with Chinese President Xi, Biden also told business leaders that the U.S. was de-risking and diversifying, but not decoupling from Beijing. But he did not mince words in suggesting the U.S. and friends in the Pacific could offer businesses a better option than China. And finally, in business news, Wall Street drifts amid worries about profits and hopes for a just right economy. Stocks drifted to a mixed finish Thursday as Wall Street's momentum slowed following its hot first half of November. The S&P 500 edged up 5.36 points, or 0.1%, to 4,508 and remains comfortably on track for its third straight winning week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped 46 points, or 0.1%, to 34,945, and the Nasdaq Composite gained 10 points, or 0.1%, to 14,114. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Friday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. Do not allow your location to hinder you from being the star you were created to be. Allow your God-given gifts to shine. They will take you exactly where you are meant to go. Have an amazing Friday and enjoy your weekend. Aaron Gold of MotorTrend is featured in today's entertainment spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversation Daily News. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your news you can use. Aaron Gold, the senior editor at MotorTrend, join me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to announce the 2024 Car of the Year. Is a bit of our conversation.
Aaron, thank you again for the time. Really do appreciate it.
Hey, Cyrus, thank you for having me on.
Hey, busy time for you guys at MotorTrend, but we really appreciate you guys doing the due diligence, helping us out with the best vehicles of the year. As I mentioned, you guys have already named, of course, your SUV of the year, but now it's time for the Car of the Year. What can you tell us about it, and how was it chosen?
Well, I'm going to tell you what our Car of the Year is. It's going to be an eyebrow-raising choice. Our 2024 MotorTrend Car of the Year is the Toyota Prius. And we know this is probably going to surprise a lot of people because the Prius is known primarily for fuel economy and nothing else. But this is really a new take on the Prius. Toyota completely rethought the car. It's still remarkably fuel efficient, but it's now beautifully styled. And the really surprising thing for us and a lot of people is that it's now actually engaging and rewarding to drive. And that was something we absolutely did not expect from a Toyota Prius.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it may be a surprise for a lot of people, Aaron. What about for yourself? Were you surprised at what Toyota did with the new car?
Yeah, when I first drove the thing, we all had a very similar reaction, which was, this is a Prius. You know, we saw it at the auto show last year. It was a really, really good looking car. You know, the Prius it has a certain shape which gives it maximum aerodynamics, and there's not a whole lot you can do with that shape. But we were really surprised at how cool and futuristic the car looked. And then we drove it, and we were just like, what is going on here? You know, Prius normally drives kind of like an appliance, but the new one is actually, it's the first Prius that you actually want to get in and have fun and hit a curvy road. We couldn't believe it.
Wow, really cool to be able to know for our audience, and again, gives them something to be able to look forward to. Now, one thing that's coming up, Aaron, is the LA Auto Show. What trends are you anticipating this year, especially with the way things are changing with the world?
Yeah, it's interesting because the LA Auto Show is traditionally where we see some of the most forward-looking technology. But the overarching theme at this year's show, I think, is more about continuity. We've seen the premiere of the Lucid Gravity, which is an electric luxury SUV that we're very excited about.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this. It is the Conversations Daily News. Be glad to get on Mondays, more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course, your entertainment spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.